Hi everybody, Vahn Mehta here, and I decided to make a video talking about something that's pretty near and dear to my heart, and something I've been doing for over a decade now, and that's fan fiction. I got into fan fiction in high school because everybody in my class just started reading it that year. Like my freshman year, everybody started reading Harry Potter fan fiction, and that's like a big part of what they would talk about for most of the year. And I held out for a very long time. I was just kind of staying away from it, didn't want to deal with all that stuff until about, I think, April, like, so 7 months, and I finally went on to a site that I think it was the site that they were going to. I'm not even sure. I just googled fanfiction, found the first site, which was fanfiction.net, and I started reading it, and I mean, it didn't instantly take over my reading habits, or basically take over my life, but I did enjoy what I found, and I started doing more and more, and eventually I fell into the rabbit hole of Naruto and eventually Harry Potter as well. But I didn't start with that. I remember the first one I started with was, at least I believe the very first one was a Pokemon fanfic called Time After Time, I think, which was about Ash, after he had done his journey and was in a college of some sort. And it was a crossover of Pokemon and the Butterfly Effect, where Ash had the powers of Ashton Kutcher's character in the Butterfly Effect, and going back in time and reliving his life, that kind of thing. And it was fun, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy fanfic. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's got a terrible reputation. Some probably justified by a lot of people's views, but I still like it. I have read a lot, as you will see when I go on, but the reason I enjoy it so much is because it lets me spend more time with characters that I've grown to love. That's the most important thing. I love Harry Potter. I liked Naruto. I may not have read all of Naruto's actual the story, but I liked what I saw and what I enjoyed, and I wanted to spend more time with them outside of what's currently available. That's especially true for Harry Potter. I read all 7 books as they were coming out, and that I enjoyed the characters, and yeah, there's always the whole things where I wish certain things happened or certain people got together that didn't actually in the canon, but that's the beauty of fanfiction, where you have characters that you already have a connection with, and you get to see them, or if you're writing it, you get to put them in whatever situation you wanted to, or you get to fix things. That's a very common trope, like the fix fic, where you get to fix what should have happened. And I think that's why it's such a big deal. It's because you don't often get to go back to the well. At least the professional authors don't very often do that, and once the thing's done, it's kind of done. But as seen with the Harry Potter fanfiction community is still thriving, huge, and there's still a bunch of other ones that are still exploding, and it's because of their love for these characters. Same reason why. And then also you get the things that probably will never happen, and it's just fun to see. What if Harry Potter and Naruto combined, or the worlds were in the same universe, or other stories, other genres, what if a Gundam from Gundam Wing ended up in the world of G Gundam, and things like that. It's all about the limits of the writer's imaginations, and that's what makes it great and so varied. It's also what makes it terrible in certain instances, because again, fanfiction's free. Anybody can write it, and anybody can post on these things, as long as you don't terribly go against the site's rules. And so yeah, you'll see a lot of people who don't have any writing ability, but just have a small passion for a character or something, and just wants to write, and they will put something out. And that's honestly, even though a lot of shit comes out of it, that's still a great thing. the fact that people have a space that they can just come out and start writing whatever they want, even if it's not good. It's still a wonderful thing, and I've enjoyed reading it since then. It's been 12 years now that I've been reading fan fiction, and I've read a lot. I've gone to a couple other sites, mainly fanfiction.net was still the main site that I've gone to for the most. Like, I think at this point I've probably read over 15,000 different fanfics. In various genres, like hell, not just genres, but various original stories. I've learned about pieces of media from fanfic, and there's some things that, like, I know a decent amount of the story of that I've never actually seen the official copy of. Like, I know a decent bit of Game of Thrones just because I've read fanfic, and I've seen bits and, like, certain elements get repeated, so it's like, okay, that's probably what actually happens, and then going into Wikipedia, the wikis and things like that, and finding out, yeah, that is actually the case. I stopped reading Naruto and watching Naruto in the middle of the Chunin exam arc, but I know most of what happened in the original series because of both people writing and also people in the bottom of, like, chapters, author's notes, complaining about what's currently happening. But it's interesting, and you get to see certain views and aspects of it that aren't always there, or at least may not mesh with your own. So this has been a long intro to why I like fan fiction and all that. Well, maybe not long, but I enjoy fan fiction. And one of the things I saw on one of the other sites was the first thread I saw was actually a reply thread to somebody else, but it was on a forum called Sufficient Velocity, which is another fan fiction site I go to, and the creator of that thread was decided that he was going to go through his favorites list on fanfiction.net and reread all of them and decide which ones would stay and which ones would go, and he was going to post everything on that site. And he wasn't the original, but I will post that thread in the description below. I saw that and I was like, I want to do something similar. I've been reading a lot of fanfiction. I should probably clean out my closet, so to speak, and I think I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be a while because I just looked at my favorites list on my account, and I have 1,200 stories, I believe, just on fanfiction.net. That's not counting the other stories I follow on the other sites that I go to. But yeah, so I'm gonna go through each of those, reread those. I'll be posting the links for the stories in the description down below as well. I'm not gonna do all of them in one video. Obviously, this is gonna be a series, but I will start with the first one that I read, which was called Warp Realities by I believe his name is Vahn. Let me just pull up his actual thing. Let me see it. God, this feels bad, but I didn't have it ready to go. Uh-oh. 1 second. This is... Oh, jeez, this is so stupid. Okay, here we go. I got the list now. So yeah, it's Warp Realities by Vahn, V-A-H-N. Sorry about that. So this story is a Ranma 1/2 crossover with Sailor Moon, and a couple others as well. Oh My Goddess, I believe. Maybe not a couple. It's just that one that I can tell. Actually, I think Cardcaptor Sakura is also mentioned in there. But yeah, so it's a bunch of stuff. But the main thing is Ranma 1/2 and Sailor Moon. think I found this fic. I'm not a huge fan of Ranma 1/2 or anything. I never actually read it. I do remember Sailor Moon when I was a kid. I remember watching it a little, but I think I'd read one of this writer's other fics, and he looked to be a very good writer, so I looked at some of his other stuff like this one. This was published in 2000, so obviously I didn't see it until much later, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's long. That kind of tells you that it's gonna stay on my favorites list. But it's a story where in Ranma's battle with Saffron, the Phoenix guy, he ends up like not exactly winning completely, and then Saffron has a last minute revival, kills everybody there, and Ranma dies as well. And then Erd comes to him from Oh My Goddess with a wish, and he says, like, she's like, oh, you can come bring everybody back to life, but you'll be sent to a different universe, which is what happens. And he ends up in a universe where like stuff is slightly different. He actually died, and his families and everybody got different people, and there's Sailor Moon and all that stuff. And it goes on from there with a bunch of back and forth, with the main three being Oh My Goddess, Ranma 1/2, and Sailor Moon crossing over and dealing with each other. Actually, I think Flame of Recca might actually be in there too. Yeah, I think Flame of Recca is there. But all those things are there, and it's a good story. It doesn't go super into like deep character for most people. Like it goes into a delve for like Ranma and Erd, and the Erd from the other, well, mainly the Erd from the other dimension and things like that. But it's well written. The action scenes that they do are not super well. I say they're not super long, but there are certain the later chapters, like there's a huge fight, and that goes for a couple chapters where it goes pretty in depth. So it's good. I enjoyed it. I really don't know what else to say. But it's written well. The characters are all like decently fleshed out, and they all have some kind of purpose other than just, no one's a punching bag in this. No one's just hated on. Everybody's an actual person. They're not just caricatures. And it's well written. It's long. I will definitely say that. It goes on for about 300,000 words, and it's not done, but well, it might be. You know, he never completed it in the sense, but it's been almost 2 years since it's updated, which doesn't seem like a lot because it's been 2000, and the last update was December 2016. But it's well worth a look if you like Ranma, Sailor Moon, or Oh My Goddess at all. Like, it's fun. Yeah, and that's the great thing. Like, it's fun. It doesn't take itself. It doesn't get like the Cerber syndrome. Like, there's no super seriousness that happens. Like, it's a semi-serious. It's a serious situation that ends up happening in the last few chapters, but there's still enough humor, drama, and funniness to not make it fall into the super serious trope or super serious situation. It's a blast, and it's definitely staying on my favorites list. So that's the only one I have right now because it was so long. It took me, like with all my other stuff, it took me like about 2 days to go back and read it. And the next video I do for this will probably be similar. It's going to be short. It's probably only going to be, again, like 1 or 2, because the next ones, again, are pretty long. And that's the thing with a bunch of these. Like, the ones I on my favorites list, most at least, there's some that are going to be shit. I know that for a fact. But most of them are just things that I've really enjoyed, or things that I've really thought were well written and I've read multiple times. And yeah, so hopefully it turns out to be more than not. And I'll do that at the bottom too. I'll do a list. I'll keep a track of how many have stayed on my favorites list versus how many have not, like out of the total, to see just how good my gut reactions when I favorited these things were. But yeah, so that's Warp Realities by Vahn, staying on my list. And I'll see you guys next time with a few more fanfics. Then you'll find out what happens next. Catch you later.